Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run, the Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, you dislike, or even if you just want to outsmart me on something I said, shoot us a call, 219-413-9405, and we will play your take back on our next episode. All right, look, man, we got a lot to cover. We got a full schedule, some NFL, some NBA as well coming up. But first things first, in the NFL, we got to start there. NFL Sunday's coming up, but we got a hell of a matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. Now, if you remember last year, these two faced each other in the NFC Championship game. Brock Purdy went down. People kind of gave a lot of excuse. I mean, you can't really give much of an excuse when you lose your starting quarterback. So it was rough for the 49ers. They didn't really get a fair shot, truth be told, playing the Eagles in that conference game. So it was interesting. Eagles ended up smacking them. We didn't see what could have been. Now we see kind of a hint at what may be the NFC Championship game again, because these are two top dogs in the NFC. The Eagles are here. And man, I think the Eagles are going to win, even though all the odds are stacking up against them. It's going to come down to the wire. 49ers are favored in this game, but truthfully, it can go either way. But I'm going to just give you a few stats, first things first, because I want to fill you in and kind of let you know where I'm coming from, where my head is at when I hear these different numbers and all of these different things. So San Francisco, first they lost 3 straight games before their bye week. And then after the bye week, they took that week off, came back, have been dominating ever since. Nothing I can say about them. Honestly, just round of applause for them because they've been balling. 3-0 since their bye week. They're averaging 30 points since then, only allowing 10 points per game since then. And they added Chase Young, who's an absolute monster on the defensive line. And since they've added Chase Young, no quarterback has thrown for a touchdown pass. Looking at all angles of this, San Francisco, they're the number one in points allowed on the defensive end right now. They're 4th in yards allowed right now defensively, and they've been on a tear, as you can probably tell just from those stats. However, statistics do not define the game. Statistics are not going to decide the game when push comes to shove. You have to actually play the game, and because you have to actually play the game, that's why I'm saying the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win. Because the Eagles have shown me multiple times that they know how to close out games in clutch situations, offensively and defensively, in order to win ball games here. The 49ers have not shown me that. So yeah, they got all these great statistics on their side, but when push comes to shove, I don't see these guys buckling down and taking care of business in the late game situations. The last 4 matchups that the Eagles have had have all been down to the wire situations, and they've shown that they had to stand tall in order to win. And guess what? They've won all last 4 of those matchups. They pulled out a win in each of those games. Meanwhile, Kyle Shanahan on the other side is 1-31 when leading or when trailing by 3+ points going into the 4th quarter. Brock Purdy's record is not that great in the clutch either. It does not look pretty when trailing into the 4th quarter. Your head coach is 1-31 when trailing by 3+ points going into the 4th quarter. 0-37 when trailing by 8+ points going into the 4th quarter. So boy, I'm telling you right now, y'all better come out with a vengeance. Y'all better come out strong, and y'all better punch the ball on these Philadelphia Eagles, because if you don't, if you make it a close game, you are going to lose this game to San Francisco 49ers. You're done. You're not going to be able to go toe-to-toe with the Philadelphia Eagles and push come to shove all throughout the game into the 4th quarter and win. I've seen Eagles do this way too many times. I've seen them put consistent pressure on quarterbacks in late game situations. I've seen them make quarterbacks make mistakes in late game situations. So Brock Purdy, someone who hasn't been in that situation very often, I don't have that much confidence in him. I'm sorry. I know he's a great quarterback. We've seen a couple good games that he's had. It's no doubt in my mind that he's a great quarterback in the league. But also when it comes to closing out games, when you need to score, when you need to buckle down, head coach Shanahan is not letting that happen. It ain't going down that way. And then Brock Purdy, we seen the last time he was in that situation, he threw an interception. So that tells me everything I need to know right there. So it's going to be tough right now, but I'm going with the Eagles because I've seen them actually talk the talk and walk the walk. And the Eagles, they're underdogs right now. Last time the Eagles were underdogs, they ended up winning the Super Bowl. So it's not good to put the Eagles as underdogs when you're going to play in Philly. Insane. So not sold on Brock Purdy. I think the 49ers are going to make it a good game, but if the Niners don't come out and absolutely start smacking the Philadelphia Eagles, I think they have a very slim chance at winning this game. In order to beat the Eagles, you got to go ahead, put them away early, run it up on them while you can, take the lead going into the fourth quarter and close out the game, because if you go toe-to-toe with Philadelphia all the way into the fourth quarter, they've shown me time after time that they can get it done and they are going to close the game and win the ball game. So for a team who hasn't done that very often in the 49ers, I would not put myself in that situation to try and go toe-to-toe with one of the best teams to do that in the NFL thus far. So I'm going to keep it that way. Although all the odds and the statistics side toward the San Francisco 49ers, Eagles are going to win. Eagles don't have the glamorous stats. They're not a top 5 in defensive yards and all of that. You can't find it right now. Not up to this point. They were at one point, but up to this point in the league, the statistics just don't compare well when you say who's going to win strictly based on statistics. So other things, other factors in terms of play that I've mentioned, Eagles are going to win that game for sure. But look, I got a couple other things too. I got some side notes I got to mention. Let me get a couple things off my chest really quick. The Big Ten Conference, as you know, Big Ten Championship is coming up. It's highly anticipated. One of the best ever that's going to ever be played in the Big Ten. You got University of Michigan versus Iowa. I'm kidding, by the way. If you couldn't tell, I was being sarcastic. But Iowa, bro, they're garbage. Let's get it out there. Let's get it out the way. Iowa's probably going to lose this game by 30. The offense is tragic. They got a fat ass at quarterback. It looks like a Ben Roethlisberger without the arm. That's just the harsh truth, to be honest, bro. Let's be real about the situation. That's what we see. Michigan is about to run it up on these boys. They probably going to beat them by 30. I would not be surprised if they ended up putting like 45, 50 up on Iowa right now. Iowa has a solid defense, but ultimately they stand no chance. But the interesting thing about the Big Ten, and this is why I even bring it up, so let's move away from Iowa because that's disgusting. But the Big Ten Conference is no longer going to look like what you're used to seeing. I mean, usually we would see the OSU, Penn State, Michigan State, and Michigan like kind of butt heads in that conference. But they're adding other teams in this division now. So you see UCLA, Washington, Oregon, and USC are all going to be joining the Big Ten next year to play. And it's going to be cool as hell, bro. Like, this was a one-sided conference. You add a lot more competition. So the top dogs in the conference actually have good competition to play. Other teams coming from another conference can jump in, beat down on the bums a little bit, and also play some good competition as well. But amongst all those teams like Wisconsin, Iowa, Maryland, Northwestern, they were never considered elite in the Big Ten. Like, we don't fear any of those schools when you look at Big Ten conference play. But adding UCLA, USC, Washington, Oregon, these elite teams, these elite schools merging is going to shake up the competition that people usually only see postseason in bowl games. I'm loving it. So what's actually happening is they're becoming one big conference. They're going to keep the core matchups and the core rivalries, as it's been said so far within this conference. But I personally feel like eventually they're going to have to split it up and figure out, different tiers or whatever the case is, move some things around. But they're going to keep the rivalries. So these schools coming over, the rivalries within that within that conference are still going to stay the same, but they'll also play these Big Ten schools in the conference play. So I'm looking forward to that. Not much else to say about it. University of Michigan, I kind of hope they go all the way, considering they're the last true Big Ten team to make a statement. I mean, it's the last season for it, so I wish the best for them. I know they're going to go ahead and smack Iowa. That's a no-brainer in my mind, but I would love to see them go to the championship. Usually I stray away from going with Michigan at any point, but yeah, I would love to see them actually, make something happen here and go far. Just to rep the Big Ten and show people like, hey, Big Ten is an elite conference like the SEC and the ACC. Like, you get what I mean? So I'm going to keep it there. But above all, man, we got some news coming in. Interesting news. The Chicago Bears has their eye on the University of Michigan's football head coach, Jim Harbaugh. That is interesting. And then we got some NBA topics as well coming up. So just in a sec, we'll bring up some news for the run. We don't have any voicemail callers. So if you heard something you agree with, disagree with, you like, you dislike, go ahead, shoot us a call, 219-413-9405, and we'll play your take back. But until then, it's halftime. We'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, and news for the run. Let's get into it. College football. USC's quarterbacking top NFL prospect, Caleb Williams, said declaring for the NFL draft will be a game-time decision. It was said earlier in the year that the team with the number 1 draft pick would heavily influence his decision on entering the draft or returning back to USC. Deion Sanders, aka Coach Prime, was awarded the Sports Illustrated 2023 Sports Person of the Year. Even with the record of 4-8, Coach Prime still surpassed media's expectations of only winning 2 games at the collegiate level, playing in that new Pac-12. NFL, the Chicago Bears are interested in the University of Michigan's football head coach, Jim Harbaugh. It's said they've already had conversations of hiring him, but it's going to depend on if they fire their current head coach, Mike Aberris. All right, and Aaron Rodgers, who suffered an Achilles injury is just a little under 3 months ago, is already back practicing with the Jets. Video caught Aaron Rodgers taking snaps and dropping back at the Jets facility with all of his gear on. And a couple of good games you can look out for this upcoming Sunday. Top dogs in the NFC, as I mentioned, the San Francisco 49ers versus the Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field. The Denver Broncos are on a 5-game winning streak as they look to push for 6, playing the Houston Texans, who won 3 of their last 4 matchups. And Thursday Night Football, another NFC matchup as the Dallas Cowboys take on the Seattle Seahawks in Texas. All right, look, man, the NBA's in-season tournament is here, and it's finally heating up. All you need to know, I know it can be confusing. I'm not even about to try and explain all of this because it was confusing to me. All you need to know about the in-season tournament is there's 4 teams in each conference that make it to the actual tournament. Once the tournament begins, it's single game elimination, and if you lose, you go home. If you win all the way to the tournament, it's similar to the playoffs. You go all the way to the championship game and you win. The winning team gets $500,000 per player. So these boys is actually playing. And I will say, man, I'm so excited about this in-season tournament. It started off where it was kind of stupid because it's like, what the hell is going on? But I've noticed a legitimate difference in the way these guys have been playing so far at the start of the season. Nobody really cares about the NBA this early on in November. All right, we're going into December. Usually people don't start caring about the NBA until December, January. Things start heating up because it's like, oh, this team may make the playoffs. This team, they got to really lock it down if they're going to make the playoffs. So they start to heat up around that time. But this early on in the season, you can already see the intensity in games. When you watch these guys play in these games that actually matter this early on in the season to qualify for the in-season tournament, like, guys are actually battling. They're playing hard. Like, some of these people, I'm going to keep it a buck, bro. Some of these people really need this $500,000 that they plan for. And you can tell. It shows. I love what I'm seeing, and I think it's brilliant on the commissioner's part because, it gives us something to look forward to mid-season. You got NFL going on, and, usually people don't talk about the NBA right now because the NFL is going on and because the NBA has changed something. Now, it's gaining a lot of interest. It's boosting the intensity. Like, it's amazing to watch. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from that. Even at the start of the season, these games are much more intense. And then second half of the season, we know it's going to be intense because teams are trying to make the playoffs. So super dope here. I think the team that's going to end up winning the tournament is the Sacramento Kings. Now, Kings, they're kind of a sleeper. I gave them unofficially, I gave them the spotlight highlight. But ultimately, bro, the Kings are a dangerous, dangerous team. Here's what kind of scares me, though, because although the Kings are dangerous, it's a single game elimination. Meaning they can have one bad game and be going home. And that's it. They could lose to the Pelicans, and the Pelicans could really mess around and be champions of the in-season tournament just because they got hot and got streaky, because you don't have all this time to go back home and prep and figure out your matchups. Nah, bro, it's game after game after game. You play, and it's not game after game like scrimmage style, no, but each day after day, however you want to place it, you don't have as much time to focus in on matchups and all of that stuff. So it's going to be very interesting, but I think above all, man, that tourney is cool. But a team who is not in the in-season tournament, and they're not going to be playing in the in-season tournament, is unfortunately my Detroit Pistons, bro. Whew. Give me a second. Just vibe with me. Just vibe with me for a moment. You got to hear me out. I'm not even about to be trying to be analytical or nothing like that. It ain't shit to be analytical about, truth be told. Now that I'm talking about the Detroit Pistons, it's nothing to be analytical about. All I've been seeing is horrible play. I've given up on this team. We've only been 16 games into the season, 17 games into the season, and I've already given up on the Detroit Pistons. This is some absolute bullshit of what I'm seeing from this team. I am highly disappointed in Monty Williams. Right now, we look an absolute mess into a coach who we made the highest paid coach ever in NBA history. This is a shit show, an absolute shit show. The Pistons have lost 15 straight basketball games in a row. 15 straight basketball games in a row. The only reason I even know how many games teams have played right now is because the Pistons have damn near lost all of them. It's the sad truth, bro. And this is the year of rebuilding. We know we weren't going to be a playoff team. We know we weren't going to go on and win the finals, all of that good stuff. Like, obviously, we weren't anticipating that. But, bro, seriously? You mean to tell me you can't get 5 and 10, or, you can't give me more than that? You're going to go on a longest losing streak in franchise history down there? It's so disrespectful, bro. And I'm fed up. I'm done watching the Pistons this year until they go on like a big winning streak. Until I see like at least an 8-game winning streak, I'm done watching them, bro. Because what is the purpose? What is the purpose? What am I doing? Why am I wasting my time when I can either be relaxing, catching up on something else, preparing to edit, all of these different stuff that I could be doing. I can think of 1,000 other different things I could be doing than watching the goddamn Pistons lose another game and extend this losing streak. I'm just not doing it no more, bro. I'm not doing it no more. I'm giving up on them. I'm still a diehard fan, whatever. So, you can hang it over my head, but, enjoy it while you can. Make fun of me while you can. Make fun of us while you can. But just know, it ain't going to be like this forever. Like I say with everything, bro, it ain't going to be like this forever. Only thing that's permanent is change. So eventually the Pistons will get it together. And I'm still riding solid on my prediction from years ago, saying the Detroit Pistons will be NBA champions by 2028, at the latest 2032. At some time, I know it's a little far out, but look at where we at. This is why I say that type of prediction. So I'm gonna keep it at that. Until then, bro, look, I'm out of here. I ain't got much else to say. I appreciate you if you've been hanging with me, if you've been listening to me, bro. Go ahead, say what's up to me, man. Shoot me a voicemail, call 219-413-9405. I would love to hear your thoughts, your opinions, your quick takes, or even if you just want to comment on something I said, I'd love to hear it. And I'll go back and, play your voicemail back on the show. So until then, bro, share this with a cousin, a brother, an aunt, an uncle, a niece, a nephew, a co-worker, a friend, a brother, a sister. I think I already said that, but other than that, man, that's all I got for you guys. Follow me on Instagram as well at The Run Podcast. Follow my personal page at I am Manny Wilson, but follow the podcast page as well at The Run Podcast. You'll see all the clips and all of that stuff. You can send it to your friends, whatever. But till then, man, we will be back later on next week, and so on and so on and so on.